Happy Monday. It was about time I came to you guys live. Okay, I was live yesterday, but the one-on-one that we get. So I titled this, You Might Be Messing This Up. This is a realization I had a couple of days ago and been marinating on. And as I get revelations and insights, I come and share them with you. So hang on to your hats and get ready for this word.
She's here to shine a light, meet new people, touching lives, create community.
Your passion set on fire, energy sends you higher.
Dreams are reality.
Just Jamie.
It's me, just Jamie Alexander in the building, creator of the Sassy Method. Okay, so you might be getting this wrong. I wanted to title this Integration over Compartmentalization, but I didn't want to confuse you. So this is what we're going to talk about. Integration over compartmentalization. So I used to live in New York, and before I left California, I was feeling very depressed. I was just sad. I had been working on a certain amount of things for so long, and I just felt alone. I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur, and it felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. So I ended up linking up with a friend and moving to New York. And sometimes I will take myself on a trip or travel, because when you travel, it helps keep you present. And when I'm present, it can take me out of my crap and into awareness, so that I'm more present and can actually hear myself and what's going on and not be so inundated with my problems, right? So it was amazing. I moved to Harlem. The energy of the ground just beats different in that city, okay? So if you've ever been to Harlem, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I don't know if it's the same, because there's a lot of things that have changed since the things. But anyway, it was a great time. It's exactly what I needed. It was completely different. And so I ended up, after 2 weeks, after spending 11 days there, I was only going to spend 5. I ended up staying 11. I was like, I'm moving here. Like, bye, California. I'm leaving. So after that 11 days, I pretty much went back, got my stuff, and bounced and moved to New York. And I found myself telling somebody about New York. And a couple of days ago, I had to revisit how I spoke about my journey. There were a lot of hard things that I went through. I moved there by myself. I luckily happened to have a couple of cousins that lived there, but it's not like we kicked it every day. So I don't mind throwing myself into unfamiliar situations, but I went through a lot of hard things when it comes to dating. I didn't realize that I hadn't fully healed from splitting up with my ex-fiance. I was a little lost. There was just a lot going on. So I would go out, I would have a good time, I would kill it. Because one thing I'm going to do is have fun. I don't care what's going on in my life. I'm going to have fun. And if something's not available, I'm going to create the fun. I keeps it popping, whether I'm depressed, excited, single, together, familiar, unfamiliar, I don't care. I am going to have a good time. So I would have a good time, but I would drink, and then I would come home and cry. Like, I was sad. I remember how sad I was, And so, but then at the same token, I met incredible people. I took my bite out of the Big Apple. I did phenomenal things. I threw events, had parties, worked with people. I was an influencer before influencers was a thing. We were doing parties. I was walking in Fashion Week. I'm talking about the littest stuff you could ever think of. Here I am in the middle of New York City getting it popping. But then on the other side, I was just my heart. So I call this integration over compartmentalization, because I came to the realization that I don't need to speak about my experience in this compartmentalized way. Oh, I was so heartbroken and so sad and so depressed, but I had so much fun and blah, blah, blah. I can integrate my experience, because I'm going to tell you one thing, especially in retrospect, that was an incredible time of my life, and I would not trade it for anything. So why don't I just stick to that being my story? It's okay that in sharing things and with helping people grow and when acknowledging things that I mention, the hard stuff too. I'm not here to be fake. But when I reference this certain period of time, why can't I come from a more integrated space? Because the reality of the integration of, oh my God, this was so hard. I didn't know this. And I was drunk and crying and falling apart. But I did events and met people and did it. I'm gonna go ahead and integrate that. There's no separation in my experience. And if I compartmentalize in that way, I'm missing on the value of integrating the entire experience. So now when I look back and really look at the entire experience for what it was amazing. It was incredible. And even speaking of it that way feels better than, it was this and it was this and there's no separation. Because when I speak in separation and I tell story in separation and I look at my life and things that I've been through in separation, what does that say about what's going on the inside of me? What does that say what's going on in the inside of my thoughts? There's still a little bit too much compartmentalizing, like, okay, this was good, this was bad, this was this was that, da, 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 da. And I am one person, I am one being who is experiencing this one experience as myself here. So it's time to kind of integrate these things for what they really are. So that way there's not so much separation within yourself and how you relate to the world. What goes on outside of you is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So me trying to compartmentalize and pick and piece and put things, all in these different places when really the totality of the experience was great as I remember it. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to acknowledge it for the bomb time it was. And I know what that means in totality. I don't have to separate the experience. One thing I wrote down that I wanted to remind you guys, and let me know if I'm making sense. Drop a comment in the chat if you feel me. If this resonates for you and you can understand this exact example where there's a time in your life and it was just so bittersweet. It's like, this was amazing, but this was happening. It was this. But let me know if you're open to finding a way to integrating that experience in order to become more integrated. The more, I think about integration with my coaching clients, I talk about it a lot with our divine masculine and our divine feminine. Sometimes we separate things so much that we forget how together they are. We separate things so much, guys over here, girls over here, we forget how one we are. This is bad, this is good, but we forget how one the totality of good and bad is. We have to understand our perception of things is what wants to put the label on everything. Thank you so much for showing love in the chat. Hey, Tawny, I felt led to come on today. I'm glad you're here. If you guys are enjoying this message, like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend. But one thing I wrote down that I wanted to share with you guys is they say that you don't even really remember memories the correct way anyway. A lot of stuff really didn't happen the way you remember it did. So why don't we use that to our advantage? Because most of the time when we look back, we're choosing it was good or bad. We were happy or sad, or what if it just was? And now that you're here, I know you can be so proud of who you are here, whether you overcame or not. We can just look at what has happened as a good experience in totality, not even to call it good, right? But just it was what it was. But it's not this separate, all over the place thing that you have to pick and piece together about what was good, what was bad, when I was happy, when I was sad. It was your experience, it was life. We can integrate. And the more we learn to integrate in the way we speak and the way we see things will allow us to integrate within ourselves. It's the separation that is messing us up. The separation of self and God. God is not this thing on the outside of us. We learn that God is within us, but do we act like it? Or are we waiting on the Lord, this entity to do something for us? Integration over compartmentalization. When you listen to what I'm saying, and for those of you new to the chat, if you go back and listen, you will see how often you are separating and pick and piecing and compartmentalizing things And it's actually making things harder. It's actually taking away from the ability of oneness. And at the end of the day, oneness is the goal. Oneness is the truth. Oneness is what it is. So let's flow like it. Let's act like it. Let's be there for it and be mindful in our reminiscence or thoughts and conversations and stories we tell and how we label things. Let's just be a little aware of the integrated version of it all, if that makes sense. That's all. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I never pop in on Facebook. Let me see if anybody's here on Facebook. You guys can also go in the description if you want to connect with me. Oh, I like the way the sun is giving. If you want to connect with me, click the link in the description. We will connect, get you unstuck. If you are finding yourself in a hopeless loop when it comes to dating and these guys and how you're feeling and how that energy is going. I'm gonna look on Facebook real quick. Let me see if any of my Facebook's peeps are in here. Let me know if you enjoyed this message. Drop a question or a comment in the chat if that made sense to you. I know it's kind of a lot to digest because it doesn't make logical sense, but it kind of does. Oh, here we go. I'm going to try to make this message succinct and do an Instagram reel or something. You guys see me out here being consistent. If you didn't have a chance to check out our chat yesterday, you should. It was so much fun. Do you guys watch Queen's Court? We had a couple of guys from the show on yesterday, and we talked for 2.5 hours. All things love, dating, relationships, and what's going on. Does this show me live on Facebook? I really don't go on Facebook. I'm streaming here, but oh, here I am. Okay. I'm going to say hi to you guys. Okay, cute. I'm into it. I'm here for it. Oh, wow. Look at it. Okay. I get a little bit better every day. I'm learning how to put everything together. So I'm wondering if someone else comments from Facebook, can I show their comments too? I never see any. Anyways. Can I show their comments too? I never see any. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I just wanted to come and share that. So that's it. You know how it goes. I'll see you in the next video. Keep shining. Keep doing your thing. And yeah, keep it sassy. Peace.